Hello everyone, I am that one animator. I'm here to make a tutorial video for you since a lot of y'all really wanted to see one. So I'm trying to make this like an 8-episode series. So this episode is going to be about the intro to Maya for animators. So let's get right into it. Also, I'm on TikTok posting my challenges and some fun videos. I also go live to animate more, and we also have a Discord if you want to connect with me or connect with others. Alright, so once you open up Maya, this is what you're going to see. Obviously, you're not going to see the recent and all these projects. It's just going to be something different. But the first thing you're going to click is new. And now, this is what you're going to see by default. Like, every time you open up Maya, unless you change some stuff. But besides that, I want to show you, like, the basic interfaces and UIs. And maybe some, like, controls towards the end of the video. So let's get started. So the first thing I want to show you is the viewport. So this is where you work all your projects, moving stuff, adding stuff. Yeah, I'll show you. I'm gonna add a cube. You're gonna do that. More cubes. You can move them. This is where you're gonna be working all your 3D works. It's pretty self-explanatory. Viewport, and also up here are like other features that help make your viewport better. But again, I'll get more in depth with that for the later videos. Next, we can go over the outliner. The outliner is pretty much like a file explorer for every object, camera, lights in your viewport. So I select this cube, it's going to select the cube in the outliner. I can even select it on the outliner, and it selects the other cube. There's other stuff too, so there's also cameras, and this is really good to like keep your stuff organized. The next panel we're going to look at is the toolbox. So it has the 4 important ones: the select tool, the move tool, the rotation tool, and the scale tool. So this is the most basic things to manipulate your objects, anything that's 3D pretty much. And also there's other features like changing your viewport camera, so you can do like double cameras, like 4 cameras, and single. There's also these other buttons. This is just an outliner. Just turn it off, turn it back on, and this is a search tool, which is pretty handy. Oh, yeah, there you go. So let's go ahead and move on to the right side. So the 4th panel we're going to be looking at are these 3: the channel box, attribute editor, and modeling toolkit. So I mainly use the first one. The second one is mainly for like modeling. Same with the third one. Actually, the second one's actually more for like other stuff. It's more in depth, but let me explain it real quick. So a channel box is just pretty much the orientations of like the mesh you selected. So obviously it has the translate, rotation, and scale, but it goes like a little bit more depth, so you could tweak it in here too instead of moving it here. There's also down here the layers. There's display layer and the anim layer. I would say this is more advanced level, so I'm gonna just move on. Yeah, move on. Next is the attribute editor. This is more like details on the object you select. So instead of just showing like the transformation of the mesh, it goes in like the materials. If you select a light, you can change the type of light, the exposure, the intensity. So it goes really like nitpicky with it. Next is the modeling toolkit. So this one is obviously mainly for modeling, and the only time I'll ever use this for animation is probably down here for the settings. But I'm gonna have to talk about this in another video. Alright, so let's go ahead and move on to the next panel. Alright, we're gonna move on to the 5th panel. So this is the shelf table. I don't use it that much actually. The only time I ever use it for animation is maybe to create mesh, like just to like make a rough draft how I want stuff to look like this plane. But it's pretty good. It shows you all like modeling, rigging, animation, and these are all scripts, by the way. So if you want to make your own script, you could just put it in here, which I have over here right now. This is probably the main one I use, the main shelf I use. But yeah. Alright, now let's move on to the menu bar or the tool settings. I don't know what's the real name for it, but that's what I think it's called. So here you could change the settings of what you want to do. So like if you want to do modeling, it'll have it for you. You have like mesh tool, mesh display, mesh has so much cool features. Then there's animation, you get playback key, rigging, you get skeleton skin, a lot of cool stuff here. And then there's like this part right here in the middle. I think the more important one's probably the save button and the undo and forward button. Obviously there's key buttons for it, so you don't have to worry too much about that. And the last and final one I'm going to be looking at is this bottom panel. There's actually 4, I don't know, but let me just explain each part. So this is the time slider. Obviously you play it, animation is going to be playing in the viewport, and the time slider is just going to keep going forward. You can change it obviously, which is right here, which is the playback. Go to the very beginning. I think this goes per it goes per frame. This goes to each key you set, which there's no key right now. This is the play button, playback button. So, and vice versa right here. Right here is the range time slider. I think that's the name. Let me see what's the name. I have no clue, but I know this is the has to do with the range of your time slider. So you obviously you can expand it. You can type in a number, and let's say 200. Stretch it out. Boom. It's at 200 frames. You can even go negatives too if you want to do negatives. There's other stuff, but I don't use most of these. Definitely, one thing I use is AutoKey, but again, I'll talk more about that for later videos. And I think the most important one here is actually this button, the preference button. This goes in like depth with like the settings of your Maya. I think the most important one out of these is probably the file project. Here, actually, I'm gonna just say it right now. Make sure you have autosave enabled, because by default, it's not enabled. So, I think that's the only thing I would tell you to change. Everything else is fine, so. And the last two, which I can go really quick about. So, this is pretty interesting. I like this. I didn't know about this until today. So anything you hover, like let's say I'm hovering this cube, look at the bottom left, it tells you what I'm hovering. Polygon cube, create a polygonal cube on the grid. So, and even other tools like the select tool, rotation tool. That's pretty cool. And the last one is the scripts. So this is again more advanced stuff. If y'all don't know, this has to deal with like Python and ML, which are the main coding softwares. Oh no, not softwares, programs they use for Maya. Again, this is also really good if you're trying to make your own scripts for your custom shelves, and that's what I pretty much did. So again, this is more advanced stuff. So okay, now that y'all got a decent grasp on like the interfaces and panels, I'm gonna go ahead and go over the navigation the viewport navigation controls. So to rotate your camera, hold Alt and hold left click. There you go. Next, to zoom in, hold Alt and right click. Or there's another way, you could just scroll the wheel, the middle mouse, and it does it by increments, while Alt, right click, does it smoothly. Your preference. And the last one is panning the camera. So hold Alt and middle mouse, and it pans the camera. There you go. So y'all know the 3 now. Hold Alt, left click, rotates, hold Alt, right click, zoom in, or just scroll wheel. And last one, hold Alt, middle mouse, and pans. There's another one, that's not Alt actually. When you select the mesh, press F, and it zooms into the mesh wherever you're facing. So pretty neat. And now for the toolbox, I'll just show you the 4 main ones. So the select tool is obviously Q. So let's have clicking random ones, press Q, and now you can just select anything. Next one is the move tool, which is W, and now the move. Next is rotation tool, which is E, and next is scale tool, which is R. So Q, W, E, R, they're all right next to each other. So, but that's all I'm going to show for y'all. Hopefully the next videos will go more in depth with, I'm pretty sure, the viewport, the outliner, and the toolbox. So again, thank y'all for watching. I hope to see y'all in the next video.